They didn't want anything. They just wanted the bodies so they could bury them.
Even so, you set up an NGO that began to work. Have you done there?
The construction of a medical office, getting it set up for use, rehabilitating schoolrooms, giving the poorest families a herd in order to get by, channeling water to get it closer to families, the construction of dikes, and, well...
So pretty much building a new town, basically.
Yes. Hansala is a new town. In fact, Hansala is now a reference in Morocco. It's gone from a place nobody could place on a map to being a reference in Morocco, especially due to the example it's provided in so little time with such little money as to how the life of a populace can be changed.
You accomplished all this without any government funding? With no government money or anything?
Practically without any public funds.
With very little, 25,000 annually, you changed the town. What would happen if 4 governments in 4 countries were to spend just a little?
Well, you can answer that question yourself, but there's no interest in that. The business of hunger, including official cooperation, is big business. It's a huge industry.
People make money off of hunger.
Evidently, yes. If you can transform a town with so little money available from official cooperation, then where's it being lost? What's it being spent on? Hotels? Trips? Where's it going? Evidently, it's a massive structure people are interested in maintaining. It's an industry that's being maintained.
So there's a dual morality.
Clearly, there's a dual morality. They don't want to stop it. If they wanted to end hunger, just look at this clear example. There hasn't been clandestine immigration since we started work in Hansala. It can be ended. We've demonstrated it. It can end, but they don't want to stop it.
Has Hansala given you more than you've given to Hansala?
No question.
How is that possible?
Without a doubt. I always say that in Hansala, I found the real world. Here we live a lie. There you coexist with illness, with death. You coexist with joy. I always say that in Hansala, it's where I've both cried and laughed the most. Because wherever you live is intense and real. There's no comparison between a place with such harsh conditions and the veneer, the posturing here. There, if you get sick, you can die.
How can we have that vision, that way of seeing things?
I tell people to find real-life situations, to forget about the posturing, and this...
On this edition of The Debate,
we will discuss how an Iranian-mediated ceasefire attributed to the withdrawal of foreign-backed militants from Syria's homes.
be a part of the show and send us your questions via Facebook, Twitter, or even SMS. Don't miss The Debate. Only on Press TV.
Press TV applications on your smartphones. On the home screen, you can watch live top stories, Iran, Middle East, US, interviews, viewpoints, reports. New features on the menu, plus you report that you can be our correspondent. Now available on iTunes, Play Store, and presstv.ir.
The headlines at Press TV. The leader of Iran's Islamic Revolution describes as stupid and idiotic the enemy's expectations for Iran to limit its missile program. The head of the Roman Catholic Church in Israel condemns Tel Aviv's hate crimes against Palestinian Muslims and Christians. Ukraine's National Guard takes control of 2 state buildings in the eastern city of Krasnoarmysk, where an independent vote is underway. Hello and welcome, live from Tehran, and you've tuned into Press TV's World News. Thanks so much for being of Iran this hour, where the leader of Iran's Islamic Revolution says the West's expectations for Tehran to limit its missile program are stupid and idiotic. Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei made the remark during a visit to the aeronautics exhibition of the Islamic Revolution Guard Corps. Ayatollah Khamenei said the Western side calls on Iran to limit its missile program while it constantly threatens the nation with military action. He said such an irrational behavior shows that they have been defeated by the Iranian nation. The leader also reiterated that arrogant powers will fail in their bid to bring Iran to its knees. Ayatollah Khamenei further spoke of Iran's foreign policy. He said he has always been positive to negotiations. Ayatollah Khamenei called on Iranian officials to exert all their efforts in the international arena, but warned them against tying issues, including anti-Iran sanctions, to nuclear talks. Ayatollah Khamenei urges Iranian officials to tie anti-Iran sanctions to the talks. Let me clarify that he actually said tying that, including anti-Iran sanctions, to nuclear talks should be avoided. Well, let's welcome from the University of Tehran, Professor Mohammad Marandi. Thank you so much for being with us. Dr. Marandi, we look at the situation and looking at what the leader of Iran's Islamic Revolution said today, basically that what the West is trying to do, limit Iran's missile program, is something definitely not rational at all. How do you see Washington's efforts right now in actually trying to deal with the Iran's missile program and trying to limit? Do you think they believe that actually Iran would agree to such a request?
Well, the United States will obviously try and see what it can do to limit any form of progress that comes out of Iran. The nuclear negotiations between Iran and the United States are, of course, about the peaceful nature of the Iranian nuclear program and the removal of sanctions. And from the very start, Ayatollah Khamenei has said that nothing else will be included in the talks. The United States, obviously, to make things more complicated and more difficult, is attempting and has been attempting to dilute the talks and add other issues to the talks themselves. But they're both irrelevant, and they go against the spirit of the agreement that the Iranians signed with the P5+1 in the first place.
Why do you think, Mr. Marandi, we see demand after demand? It started, of course, with the P5+1 and dealing with the nuclear program that basically, of course, as we know, saying that Iran had other aspirations and actually wanting to make a nuclear weapon, which Iran continued to deny. Now we have recently seen talking about human rights. Now we're seeing them talk about Iran's missile program. Where does it all end? What is this really about in your perspective?
Well, I think it's, again, very clear that the United States really doesn't see Iran's nuclear program as a threat, and it's basically being used as an excuse to put pressure on Iran. In fact, just the other day, the former head of the Israeli nuclear program, who was both a general and who ran the program for 10 years, he said very specifically that